Thanks to Jersey Sports Zone, and Volpe makes almost the identical play.
At home, they call me Big Al, and I hit dingers.
Remember that young man, Big Al?
The Minnesota Lynx select Diamond Miller.
Video courtesy of Jersey Sports Zone.
It's an incredible goal, so that's a nice one. It's deserved of number one.
You got my food.
Number 2, New Jersey high school football.
Here on Jersey Sports Zone.
State championship football almost in the books. We've got 6 state champions crowned at the time of taping. We have 1 more to go. This is Beyond the Score, Jersey Sports Zone episode 14. He's Jay Cook. I'm Rich Krampanis. So we're going to dive into these 6 state finals. The pod drops on Wednesday morning.
Yes.
On Wednesday night, we got Camden and Shabazz to close things out at Rutgers. So we'll post those highlights later on tonight, and then from there we've got this episode, which we're going to break down the state champions. Non-publics was a wild ride, and then the publics is all about down south.
South Jersey dominance.
Wow.
Unadulterated dominance. Just insane this week.
I think it's everybody in the state is talking about that. I think there's a lot of crowing down south, which is justified and deserved. Yeah. And I think there's some Central and North Jersey teams that are saying, we got a little bit of work to do. So
yeah, absolutely. Look, I mean, South Jersey proved that this year was the year of the publics down there from top to bottom. You had some incredible teams. You had some perfect seasons. You had teams that, got hot at the right time. You had some teams that are dynasties. We had a little bit of everything. So we're going to bring James Mooney on.
Right.
He covered all these teams all season long. We were all at MetLife and Rutgers over the weekend and taking these games in. So we'll go through each one and just kind of show you why South Jersey public football this year was insane.
So we have all the state championship recaps, and then we're going to close out the show by announcing the finalists for our Player of the Year, the Zoneman Trophy. We're going to walk through the history of how we do our Player of the Year, how we do our postseason coverage.
Yep.
We're about to really work really hard here to put about 150 videos together over the next 7 or 8 days.
Yeah.
And then we'll tell you about that. I'm excited to see who the next Zoneman's going to be.
I know. It's a toss-up right now. It's an absolute toss-up. We've got some great finalists, some of the best programs and players in the state all represented. But this one's a toss-up this year. It'll be very interesting.
Up for grabs. We will take you through the state championships and begin our postseason coverage. Remember that our great podcast brought to you every single week by RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together. We'll be back breaking down the non-public state championships right after this.
It's one thing to win one award, but it's another 46 things to win 46 awards. New Jersey's most comprehensive academic healthcare system. Learn more at rwjbh.org/US News.
Black Friday, MetLife Stadium, the state championships. We had 4 games. This segment, we're going to focus on the non-public state championships. Just give you a little perspective for where I was at. I did the Cedar Creek Old Tappan game, which was at 4 o'clock. And we're going to talk about Cedar Creek with James a little bit later in the show. I had the incentive to get my game cranked out so I could be there with you so we could have 2 cameras for St. Joe's Montvale, Don Bosco. That was some of the fastest editing I've ever done. Like, sometimes I get there like we do this in the past, and I'll wander in there with like 5 minutes to go in the 4th. Like a minute into the 3rd, you looked across. I think you did a double take.
I was like, whoa.
I gave you the thumbs up. I'm like, I'm here.
Yeah.
I wanted to see that game.
Oh.
So that was my incentive. Thanks to Cedar Creek for giving me enough long touchdowns. Like I said, I cranked that baby out.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was up and rolling, and it looked great. And then I was like, let's go Joe's Bosco. And it didn't disappoint you.
Did not disappoint. This was the game that we all wanted to see these 2 teams put on. A close game, a hard-fought game. The place was packed.
Yes.
I mean, that, you worry about when you go to have these games at an NFL stadium, what's it going to look like? NJSI AA announced that single day, that Friday, was the largest single day attendance for 18,000 people. Largest single day attendance for the football state championships. I think 10,000 were
That was
at
what
that
I was
game.
going to say.
I didn't ask, the state police guy hanging out there or anything, but I would comfortably say that was a 10,000 at that game. It felt like 10,000. It was loud. It was raucous. The whole bottom bowl was filled up, So right from the get-go, you've got this incredible crowd, incredible atmosphere, and, it kind of set the stage for this awesome, awesome game.
And it was just a great back and forth battle, wasn't it?
It was. Early on, it was haymaker after haymaker, right? You got Carson Shane right out of the gate, 50-yard touchdown to Isaiah Alvarez. Joe's turns back around. Stalin Nolden, 35-yard touchdown, 7-7.
Hang on for a second. I got to give you your props.
Okay.
Hot takes, right? We'll go back to the podcast. If you listen back, Jay's, we kind of did a little bit of a structure, right? Like who to look out for. And who was the X factor for Jay? Stalin Nolden.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw it, I said, Jay's right on the money there.
I felt pretty good about that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. Stalin he played a good solid game. Nice touchdown. We're so zoomed in on the quarterbacks. When you watch our highlights, everything begins at the quarterback and we follow the ball. I saw a full field video of that play, and Stalin made a great read. He was doing a shallow cross, and he saw the lane to kick it upfield, and Lamar hit him in stride, and Lamar Best hit him in stride, and Stalin made an incredible move at the 5, a little hezzy, and then got in across the plane there. So, look, I mean, early on, 7-7, a tight game. It quickly turned into, though, and this was my big takeaway after the first quarter, was, Lamar Best is healthy.
Right.
Lamar Best is ready to go. Lamar has had some injury troubles all year. He was not 100% for most of the year. He was battling this year. Had to miss a number of games when Mason Geist stepped in to start. Mason has a tough injury to his lower leg foot in the Bergen Catholic game, the overtime win. So he's done for the season at that point, and then Lamar's got to come in and battle through not playing at 100%. And we hadn't seen him, play a fully confident, healthy game all year because I think he was battling a lot of stuff. But what Bosco did not account for was Lamar Best being healthy, Lamar Best being aggressive, Lamar Best using his legs like that. That ended up being the X factor, was a healthy and confident Lamar Best, and we saw that really play out in the second half of this game.
And really, this game was ultimately decided in the third quarter.
Yes.
Don Bosco with a 14-10 lead. Shane had 2 touchdown passes. Salinas got the field goal to make it 14-10.
Yep.
And then in the third quarter, we saw the guy that we've been talking about all year long, once again justifying our scouting report, Nate Bailey, with just a tremendous Nate Bailey type of highlight to put Joe's in front. And then that's when the story really becomes and shifts towards Joe's.
It was interesting. The first meeting between Bosco and Joe's lost the game because of special teams, right? It was a liability in that game. In this game, they flipped the script. They had the Salinas field goal was set up by a blocked punt. You have Nate Bailey scoring the rushing touchdown midway through the third quarter. What happens next on the ensuing kick? There's a bobble on the kick return. The ball is fumbled a couple times by Kasai Thomas. KJ McClain lands on it. Joe's is at the 25-yard line. They're in the red zone. And then you've got Lamar, which I said in the highlights was a grown man touchdown. That's what it looked like.
Gutsy run.
Oh, yeah.
That was right in front of me.
Yes, came right to you.
Yeah, so I saw it, and it was that it was not a second effort. It seemed like the fourth effort got the ball over the plane.
It dragged two kids into the end zone. Yeah, he wouldn't be denied. And that was, you have in a span of 25 seconds, maybe even less than that, you've got Joe's on a 14-point swing. They rattle off 17 unanswered points from the end of the second quarter through the third, and they had complete control of the game at that point.
So the third quarter, 24-14 Joe's, and now the script plays out in the fourth quarter. Don Bosco's able, it took a little bit of time, but they're able to put together a drive. Dante DeLuca cashes in, 24-21, and now this is where you and I are, we're about 100 yards away from each other. We're just like, all right, this is it.
This is the game you want. This is what we want to see. You want to see a close game. You want to see these two teams going down to the wire, and that's really what happened. Joe's had to bleed some clock. That was the big thing for them because Bosco had kind of moved away from the passing game. They'd gone to the run, and maybe, Joe's kind of allowed that a little bit. They didn't want the shots downfield. They let the run happen. Bosco gets back into the game, and then you've got Joe's getting the ball back. What's going to happen here? 3rd and 5. I think this is one of the biggest plays of the entire game.
The entire year. So I think what's interesting about this is, and again, we're kind of peeling back the curtain of what we do. Jay does an incredible job shooting these highlights of these big boys all the time. He's just one guy. Mm-hmm. So you can only be in one spot. When Jay and I are working together, which only happens really like once a year. Like
right. State championships, that's it.
Right. Yeah. So what we do is we kind of try and stagger ourselves. And I, in this case, all it is a look. He's looking at me and I'm looking at him. And it's like, okay, I'm going to play on the defensive side that is Bosco going to make a play? If Bosco makes a defensive play, I'm going to be right there.
Yeah.
Jay's on further down the field on the opposite side, that if Forster breaks one or Best runs wild or there's a deep ball to Nate Bailey, he's going to be all over that. So we kind of have things covered. So it just happens to be it's 3rd and short, and I am right there.
Right there.
I am right there. Lamar Best goes into the pile, and I'm like, wow, he stopped. It's 4th down.
Trouble.
All this is going in my microprocessor as quick as I can. And by the time I'm getting to that, he pops out of that pile. Aiden O'Neal, Jay, how long? We watched this video like 20
times. Yeah.
Aiden O'Neal had him wrapped up pretty darn good.
He did.
He used his wrist to kind of give himself a little balance, and he pops back up.
We went frame by frame to see if his knee was down, elbow was down. It was clean.
That's a great officiating crew that they had.
I know those guys. I don't know if you saw me talking to those guys before.
They talked to when I was at the Cedar Creek. They're like, "Where's?" I said, "Hey, guys, take it easy. He's in there. He'll be out. Don't worry."
Those are the guys. That is the A crew.
That's an amazing crew.
They are. I didn't see them all year. And that, I think that was by design because they said that we knew we were going to do the non-public A final, and we didn't want to see these teams because that crew only does those teams once a year, and that's it.
Right.
And so I talked to those guys beforehand, but that is the A+ crew.
They made the right call a big spot, and Best somehow, some way, somehow gets that first down. He paid a heavy price. Mekhi Allen, the other thing you pointed out, Jay, is if you look at where Mekhi Allen was at the start of this play and how he was able to get to the complete other side of the field and make this tackle, and Best was groggy. We were right there. He had to sit out a play.
His helmet came off,
to gather himself, and that play just extended things and just took a little bit more of clock off to put Bosco in a very tough spot. And what happened at the end was St. Joe's Montvale was able to make enough plays on defense to seal a state championship.
It was an awesome ending to that game. Look, if you're from Joe's, it was an awesome ending. If you're from Bosco, it was a heartbreaker. It was a heartbreaker. But from somebody who I don't have a dog in the fight, I just root for a great game. Let's see a great game. However it plays out, I don't care. But you've got everybody in the entire stadium standing up at the top of their lungs. I mean, the place is rattled. You can feel it. And Cam Amy, we talked about Cam all year and how he has been one of the highest rising players that we've seen, fastest risers that we've seen this season. Cam Amy gets a one-on-one clean look on Shane, pressure Shane, Carson Shane. The ball goes up, tipped down by St. Joe's, and they make a 4th down stop to win a state championship. It's really the kind of thing that, is that storybook ending, right? And then madness ensues after the game. Joe's is, obviously elated. Talked to Augie after the game, right after he gives them their post-game speech, and he had a great quote, and he said, if you knew how much duct tape was holding this team together, you'd be shocked. And he was right. I'd been around that team all year. They took their lumps. They had injuries. They were banged up. They lost close games.
Let's just drill down on that for a second, though.
Yeah.
Because you remember the temperature, and it is a vibe, right? St. Joe's Montvale outgains Bosco by 200 yards, loses in overtime at home. They lose on a 2-point conversion to St. Peter's Prep.
Yeah.
Those two things happen, and the vibe was, Joe's isn't there yet. And we said it. We said, boy, it's a couple of tweaks and a couple of adjustments.
That's it.
And it could be a very different story. But if they had listened to that outside noise, because those 2 losses were tough, heartbreaking, coulda, shoulda won games.
Yeah.
And then everything you said, boy, the thing you said about the special teams, I keep thinking about that. You're right.
It was a massive
It was
swing.
a special teams disaster against Bosco at Montvale in the regular season, and the script got completely flipped. And that is a credit to Augie Hoffman and that Joe's staff for keeping those kids focused and locked in and knowing that they were this close to turning it around. And now they're on top of the mountain.
Look, and Augie said it after the game. He said, this was not the year that we were supposed to win. These are kids that, for the most part, Augie did not recruit to get on campus. I mean, you look at Nate Bailey was from a previous staff. Christian Alvarez was from a previous staff. Some of these guys had been there. The guys that had been there for, 4 years were not brought in by Augie. They're not his guys.
Right.
When he gets, and he said, look, when I get my guys going now and the guys that we really love, this thing's going to take off. And what a launching point for Joe's. They took over number 1 team in the state, beat the unquestioned number 1 team in the state, handed Don Bosco their first loss after Bosco from wire to wire really was, they proved to be the number 1 team in the state just about all season long. It was an incredible performance from St. Joe's Montvale, a total team win. They got it done in all 3 phases, and tip of the cap to the Green Knights. They did an incredible job to end up as the number 1 team in New Jersey.
And look, Don Bosco had an amazing season.
Incredible season.
They're hurting right now, just like Bergen Catholic's hurting right now in St. Peter's. This game is the calling card of what New Jersey high school football is at that pinnacle. It's the very best. It's the best of the best, and it doesn't disappoint. And much like people analyzing NFL teams and jockeying, the arms race will happen now in the off season of who's going to be where, and we get to experience this all over again. But it's just what a great football game to wrap up 4 games at MetLife. And it was awesome.
It was awesome. Bosco, like you said, they're hurting right now. I know those guys are hurting right now. I know how much they care. They wanted this one bad. They felt like this was the year. And look, things just didn't bounce their way in the biggest game of the year. That's what it comes down to. They still had a great year. They are still, this season they were ranked top 25 in the country for a number of weeks. This is an absolutely a great team, and they have a great core. I expect them to be right back in the mix next year. I don't expect much of a drop off. Bosco is going to be very, very good again in 2026,
without a doubt. And let's not forget about the others. Let's not forget about St. Peter's and Bergen.
Gracious.
How about Del Barton? Who they're all going to try and get to the top of the mountain, and we're going to get to enjoy it once again. We can talk now non-public B state championship was the first state championship, Friday morning, 10 o'clock. It was DePaul Catholic against Barnabas Catholic, a rematch earlier in the regular season, 26-14 DePaul. This time around, we will call this the Derek Zammit legacy game.
That's what we said probably needed to happen, and it did.
Well, I want to take you back to DePaul beating St. Peter's Prep at Cave and Point.
Yes.
Massive game. Want to say it was late in the second quarter. I sent you a picture of
Concern.
Derek
Concern.
Zammit on the ground, a very concerned Nick Campanelli. And what happened was that is the beginning of the injury story for Derek Zammit in his senior year. We all know, heading to the University of Washington, two-time state champ, looking to become a three-time state champ, and that was what, like week 6, week 7?
Yeah.
And those high ankle sprains, I look, I shouldn't even say that. I don't know what the injury, it was some type of leg injury, and
it was bad.
Here's the thing, we're not going to sit here and do injury talk.
No, they're kids, right?
They're kids, right. So I knew that he was hurt, and so, we're not talking about it very much, but we knew he was hurt, and the on the mat and the 100-meter health went down.
Yeah, it was probably in the orange to yellow, yeah.
Yes, orange to yellow. So as the season goes on, DePaul is managing, and the thing about Derek Zammit is this kid could say, hey, I'm about to go play big boy football at the University of Washington. Probably got a nice little check coming to me from the NIL. Maybe I need to shut this down and protect myself and protect my future as possibly a starting quarterback in the Big Ten, and who knows beyond that. He could have easily said that and it would have been understandable. This kid decided to tough it out, and Nick Campanelli, when it was all said and done, finally kind of painted the picture of what this kid went through.
Yeah, Derek is a dog. Let me just get that out right now. That is one of the toughest competitors I've ever covered, I've ever met. I across the last number of years in New Jersey, that is the most competitive kid I think I've ever seen. Up close and personal, got to experience it. Absolutely a team-first guy through and through. It was like pulling teeth to get him to talk about himself after he commits to Washington. Preseason of this season, after state championships, this and that. This kid is a team-first kid, and
Washington's lucky.
They're getting one of the most high-character young men that I've ever covered. That is a absolutely serious statement. High character. For Derek to be in a walking boot earlier in the week coming into this game.
Monday, Tuesday, Nick Campanelli said. In a boot.
In a boot. And to then come out and have 3 rushing touchdowns in a state championship game against a team that played them very tough in the year. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable, especially the one where he almost, 69, 70 yards?
59.
59. Thank you. I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, how do you do that? How do you do that? Derek is absolutely one of the most competitive kids, a great high school football player. I'm proud of him. I am, because I know how much he cares about it and how much work he put in to make sure he could get out there and get to that game. That you're looking at an all-time great DePaul Catholic player, an all-time great. That's what they thought could be the potential when he comes in as a freshman and helps them win a state championship. Coming off the bench as a freshman at the end of that season to win 3 out of 4 state championships. It's an incredible run from an incredible player, and DePaul's going to miss Derek Zammit a lot.
21-12. Zammit has all 3 touchdowns. Hey, big tip of the cap to Barnabas Catholic.
Fantastic.
They elevated this program to they are now back on the top, and it's going to be the same characters again, Jay.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be DePaul, it's going to be Barnabas Catholic, and it's going to be RBC. Barnabas Catholic knocked out RBC twice. And you got to remember, the narrative in non-public B for the last few years has been DePaul RBC, right? They kept playing each other, and Barnabas Catholic inserted themselves into the mix And once again, Coach Russo there at Barnabas Catholic has them in a good spot. We're never going to look at their record because they play this insanely tough schedule.
Yes.
Jay and I will never get fooled by that. I don't care what their record is. It comes to non-public B. These three teams are going to be once again battling each other, which is awesome.
The core is back at PC. Look, this is a team that is only going to get better. Rowan Martin played a massive role this season when Marco Green got knocked out mid-season with an injury. Rowan, I believe, is a freshman. Chuk Odo, the transfer from St. Thomas Aquinas, just a junior. He's going to be there for his senior year. AJ Lopez, oh my God.
Yeah.
AJ Lopez is a super recruit. That is going to be one of the best Barnabas Catholic football players in a long time. AJ Lopez, only a sophomore. So this core, and Nakai Martin. Let me not forget Nakai Martin. Sorry to the Martin family. I almost overlooked you. Nakai Martin is
electric.
Pure electricity. So this core is intact. PC is going to only get better. They've got to start knocking off these teams in the regular season. They've got to beat a Bergen Catholic in the regular season. They've got to beat a Don Bosco. They've got to beat a St. Joe's. They've got the core now that they could start to maybe, chip into that beginning next season. I think next season is really going to be a year where PC opens up a lot of eyes. They got a lot of really young, good talent. They got a coach that they love there in Coach Russo. They've got a really, really good staff. They get the best out of those kids. So PC needs to get off to a hot start in 2026, but I like their core. I like what they've got going on there. Non-public B, with those big three, is going to be very fun for the next few years.
So it's St. Joe's Montvale, non-public A, DePaul Catholic, non-public B. It was an incredible year of non-public football. When we come back, we shine the spotlight on public football. 2 games at MetLife on Friday, 2 more at Rutgers on Sunday. We're going to be talking a lot of South Jersey football with James Mooney when we return.
Over the river from a place you well know is a land called New Jersey, where holidays glow. Where after tearing through presents, kids crash by the tree, and folks order their favorite Taylor ham, egg, and cheese.
SPK.
The whole state's a garden of holiday wishes, where Nonas serve up mountains of dishes. It's the Jersey in all of us, in all that we do. So when you're home for the holidays, don't forget to ask,
What exit are you?
You're there for them. We're here for you. Get back the life you love.
Welcome back to the Beyond the Score podcast. We shift our attention from non-public state finals to the public state finals. And when we're talking public football in New Jersey, Jay, there's one overwhelming theme. South Jersey is the king. There's no dispute. It's not a fluke. It's the real deal. And I think the guy that would agree with that more than anyone is our own James Mooney.
Yeah, look, James has seen these teams all year long. He was dead serious when he said these are some elite programs. And, boy, what South Jersey did, traveling to Rutgers, traveling to MetLife, statement after statement win. It was a very, very impressive weekend. And let's get started with the one that finished a perfect season, Washington Township, right out of the gate, Group 5. Boy, how good is this Washington Township team? We saw it against the best that the North had to offer in Passaic Tech. Tech had a great defense coming in, but it seemed like Washington Township just had another gear, especially in that second half, where they were just able to power away and win this thing. What was your biggest takeaway from watching the Minutemen, James?
Yeah, Jay, I think you hit the nail on the head. They just had another gear that they could go to in that second half, and it took the form of Jalen Robinson. 3 second-half touchdowns to really blow that game open. I'll give Passaic Tech credit. They were up 6-3 at the half. They were battling all day long. but Township got the job done and had their date with history.
I look at the stats here, and they leaned on the ground game, right? Colaquino was only asked to throw the ball 8 times in this game, right? And look, 7 of 8, a very efficient game, a very Colaquino-esque game, but 30 carries for Washington Township. And Jalen Robinson, 3 touchdowns on 6 carries. How do you like a 50% touchdown rate?
I like that a lot.
That's pretty good. I know we're going to talk about Jalen a little bit later, but in this state final on the big stage, what was your biggest takeaway from him?
You know, I'll go to a quote from Colaquino. He had said something to me and Mark Narducci from Courier Post that he went up to Jalen Robinson at halftime and said, "J-Rob, I need you one more time." And boy, did he take that to heart.
Yeah.
6 carries, 122 yards, 3 touchdowns, double-digit tackles on defense. What didn't he do in that game? And, I mean, what a special season for Washington Township.
I think, James, things you can do here in the offseason that are fun. I think early on it was Winslow's the best team in South Jersey. Winslow. Now you're taking the whole state. You're saying, who's the best public team in this state? And I don't know, can we find a computer sim? Can we play maybe Washington Township and Winslow and decide it? Because I think you can make a heck of an argument for Washington Township. Am I right?
Absolutely. Yeah. If somebody out there wants to go on Madden or NCAA football and
let's build it.
Put the rosters together. Yeah, let's do it. But yeah, it's, Township really was one of the most complete teams, if not the most complete team down here. Winslow being right there with them. I think when you look at this, from a state poll perspective, I think a lot of weight goes into that IMG game for Winslow. Them hanging with a top 10 team nationally. I think that is kind of where, if we're splitting hairs, that might be where that hair is split. But, I mean, Township dominant throughout most of the season, and then got the job done when they absolutely needed to get it done.
So now we're going to move to the Group 3 state championship game. And I think in all the forecasts, I think Washington Township a favorite. Certainly Glassboro a favorite. Winslow a favorite. When it came to Cedar Creek and Old Tappan, I think that was the one game where Old Tappan came in as the favorite, and Cedar Creek used that very well.
Yeah.
I saw a team that the classic getting hot at the right time of the year. I don't think if there was another week of football, anybody would be interested in playing Cedar Creek right now. James, they absolutely wowed me. I'm not going to say I was shocked because we saw this run kind of come together thanks to your the highlights of the Mainland game, and then they go to Homedale and upset Jack Cannon, come from behind for 10 points. So it wasn't a shocking result, but maybe the margin of victory, because this Old Tappan team, defending state champs, undefeated, they were not challenged at all, and Cedar Creek blew me away. And I said to James on Sunday at Rutgers, his scouting report on the guys that were the playmakers was so spot on, and all 4 of those guys shined, James. Yeah. All 4 of them really put their best foot forward in that game. I mean, I'm right there with you, Rich. I'm not shocked they won. I think it's more I'm shocked at the TKO that they delivered in that game. Win that, up 14-0 at the half, up 34-7 after 3. Credit to James Melody and his staff over there, and the players there too. That was a special season there. I'm sure the parade down Philadelphia Avenue on Friday night was something special.
It was an eye opener for me. It was. Look, Old Tappan, Coach Dunn has done such a great job, but you look at the way the season played out for Old Tappan. It was 2 different stories between them and Cedar Creek, right? You talk about Cedar Creek had to go through a war path to get to the Group 3 state final. Old Tappan won via running clock in the state semi. And in the sectional final, they dominated. So, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. It seems like maybe the last time Old Tappan was really, really tested was probably against Northern Highlands.
That game I was at, right.
Yeah.
Coach Melody in the postgame brought up a great point, because I said to him, the journey you took, and you're here at MetLife, you were able to just let it all hang out. And he said, and it's a credit to Old Japan, he goes, they had not been battle tested, and we were. Mm-hmm. And what he said he wanted to do was to make them uncomfortable because they have not been used to being uncomfortable at all. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And the 14-0 at the half, Gian King comes out, bang, opening kickoff to the house, and then that Jameer Campfield touchdown.
Oh, my gosh.
Goodness gracious.
Insane.
They were up by enough that I ran into the press room to give the clip to Jay. I said, you got to get this up.
Yeah.
And you looked at the clip and said, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. So, again, I thought that Cedar Creek was just simply tremendous. And I think the one thing we're learning, I think there's something really important in the grand scheme of things, is this is just the 5th year of true state champions in public football. And as time goes on, we're going to learn how hard it is and how special it is to win a state championship, because you have to beat teams like an Old Japan team that was so tremendous.
Yeah.
And then these teams that win sectional titles like a Homedale, 20 years from now, they might be thinking, oh, wow, we were up 10 at the half and it is so hard to win one of these things. And so, credit to Cedar Creek, so deserved. So why don't we just move on now to Sunday, where the South Jersey Combine just kept rolling around. Didn't matter if it was Rutgers or MetLife, and it started with Glassboro, James.
Yeah, Glassboro finishing off another undefeated season, defending that Group 1 state championship, 27 straight victories. What else can we really say about Glassboro? Amari Saab, 2 touchdowns in that game. Just another tremendous effort from the Bulldogs. Credit to Timmy Breaker and his guys to get that job done.
How good was the Saab run? Yeah, we got the Cedar Creek run, and then we've got the Saab run, and then we're going to do the top 10 plays after Wednesday's state final between Camden and Shabazz. But those two right now are neck and neck. We can get into an argument over that.
Yeah, they're at the top of the leaderboard right now. You've seen Amari Saab, all 4 years of his high school career? Those touchdowns, look, a touchdown like that is certainly few and far between, but I'm sure you've seen some incredible runs by him. Where do you think that ranks in the all-time great Amari Saab touchdowns? I know you've seen a couple.
Given the stage it was on, it's right up there with his best.
It's got to be. Yeah.
I think of one that pops into my mind that, it doesn't have a ton of crazy moves, but it almost kind of shows what they think of Amari and how they get things done, is they had the ball with under a minute to go in the half against Haddonfield, Battle at the Beach, and they're running power with Amari Saab, and he scores a touchdown almost walking in. He's just been unbelievable, a special talent, and great to see him end his high school career going out on a high note.
It was a tough end for Cedar Grove. Group 1 up in the north all year long was, it was a war to see who was going to get, handled by Glassboro. And maybe that's a little harsh, and I apologize to Cedar Grove if that's a little harsh, but this is just the reality of it. Glassboro's on a different level right now.
There's no question. And I guess, it's a small consolation, but when you're talking about the craziest touchdown of the state championships,
yes,
Cedar Grove gets that one.
Yes.
Maybe that's the best play of the state championship, where Xavier Saab makes the INT, Xavier Andujar knocks that ball loose, and then it becomes hot potato, gets in the end zone. That touchdown was crazy.
That was insane. And look, I know Cedar Grove probably would have liked that to be maybe, the third or fourth touchdown of the game. It was kind of a fluky play. Great play by Andujar to get a nice clean hit in too. Right. It was a clean hit. It was all good by the book. But yeah, look, Cedar Grove, 1 touchdown from Pierce Asfalge. The defense had their handfuls with JoJo DeLise and the Saab brothers, offensively and defensively. Brandon Simmons, again, how do you block this kid? What do
Another
you
sack and a half?
Right, 27 sacks on the year. What do you have to do? It's a tough end. Look, Cedar Grove has proven that in the North, they've got the program from top to bottom where they can go on a run because they might play only 1 or 2 Group 1 games all season. They are mixing it up with some of the best in Essex County. They're playing some Passaic County. They're playing a little bit of Bergen County here and there. They do a really good job of preparing themselves for that run in Group 1. Again, this year in a rematch, 2 straight trips to that state final, 0-2 in that span against what will probably go down as a generationally good Glassboro team.
Yeah, that's dynasty level. And you talk about another dynasty that's happening, and that's down at Winslow Township.
For sure.
I think the great treat for us was that we saw a great football game.
Oh.
Ramapo taking the lead in the fourth quarter, and everyone kind of getting on notice that, okay, we're going to have a fantastic finish here to end it. You guys were both there on the field. I was editing the Glassboro highlights, doing a lot of looking off to the side.
Sure, yeah.
So, James, you've shot Winslow Township. They should put you on the payroll, to be honest. And shout out to our sponsor, Quartler Manors, because they jumped on the Winslow, so we were able to show those extra Winslow games. But James, to see them challenged like that over the last 2 weeks is just a testament of why they're a champion, because they were able to persevere when the outcome was in doubt for a moment.
Yeah, and that's why they schedule IMG. That's why they schedule Bergen Catholic, so they would have that adversity in the early parts of the season to almost help them at this stage. Like you said, Ramapo takes the lead. That was a dogfight all day long. Yeah. I give tip of the cap to Ramapo. They brought their lunch pail and they came to work. They take the lead in the fourth quarter. Then Winslow's driving to put it away. They come up with an interception, have the ball with a chance to take the lead at the end of that game, and the Winslow defense steps up. A couple of sacks from Kamaj Matthews, Eric Worley to seal the deal as Winslow wins a second straight state title.
Quade Hendricks, by the way.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Yeah. To do that on a state championship level stage, holy moly. I wish I got to see Quade Hendricks play all year like you, James, because I would have been like, holy crow, who is this kid? He was spectacular. Ramapo did what they could, but Quade Hendricks, the first touchdown, what was the Jalen Parker touchdown? An 89-yard bomb, 88. To break Devin Leary's New Jersey all-time passing touchdown record. Just an absolute bomb. I went back and looked at the film, and he must have hit a double move because he was legitimately 15 yards away when the ball is from the next defender when the ball is coming down into his hands. I know you put out the reel of Quade Hendricks when he committed to Minnesota. We have seen some crazy touchdowns. That kid just had a career game. He had a career game. I saw him after the game absolutely swarmed by media. It was insane. How much has his profile lifted this season? Just on a recruiting sense, in the statewide recognition, it seems like his profile has just jumped, into another level. What would you say about that?
Yeah, I think to touch on the game first, he gave us a little bit of everything that I had seen throughout the year in that one game. Whether it was, the catch that we just put out earlier today on Monday. I saw him do something similar against Millville for a touchdown. But when you talk, raising his stock, he has done that tremendously. He entered the season as a UConn commit, and by the end of the season now he's going to the Big Ten in Minnesota. So I think those just results show enough that, what he was able to do to have a really special season. And I'll even point out, he changed that game on that kick return touchdown.
Yeah. 1,000%.
That they get that touch. Ramapo scores to take the lead shortly before halftime, and then I think somebody said Ramapo had the lead for 14 seconds.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, wow.
But you saw, Jay, I'm sure you saw, after that, Ramapo was like, all right, well, we're not kicking to you again.
They stopped.
And Winslow was able to benefit from, I think, they were able to win the field position battle, and that kind of dictated some things in that second half.
It did, yeah. I think one of the biggest takeaways for me was Winslow's pass rush against Ramapo's offensive line. It was such an overwhelming advantage.
Grusser was under immense pressure. The times I was out there, it was like he was running for his life.
And if he wasn't as athletic as he is, it would have been a major problem. The game would have gotten really out of hand. But what Ramapo did, and we talked about this last week on the podcast, I said that they had to kind of stay true to themselves. They don't get away from what you do. Don't throw the ball 45, 50 times. Lean on the run game. It has worked. And that's what they did. Liam Hayward had almost 150 yards and 2 touchdowns.
He had a great game.
He was fantastic. He's such a tough runner, so tough between the tackles. Karan Ali came in and gave him a honey badger level hit in the middle of the field coming in at the end of the first quarter. And I thought Liam, I didn't see him on the field. I thought he was back in the locker room. And later that quarter, second quarter, he's out there running like a madman. He's tough as nails, absolutely tough as nails. So shout out to Liam Hayward. That was the reason that they were able to, make this a game. The run game, they controlled the clock. They were able to sustain some long drives. But I thought after that touchdown after that interception in the fourth quarter, James, we all kind of felt the stadium, right? 6 minutes left. Parker throws an interception. Ramapo's got the ball at the 45 with 6 to go. And everybody's like, whoa, okay. Something might be happening here. And then that Winslow defense they clamped down. They did what they do. They attacked and they pinned their ears back and just said, nah, it ain't happening today. Winslow, boy, that's a tough team. They are tough. They are physical. They no problem mixing it up, man. That's a really, really good high school football team.
Yeah, that's a team. They thrive in those battle type situations. They love, especially on defense, they love getting after people.
So aggressive. So aggressive.
Oh my god. Yeah. They look for any reason to, give them an extra little bit of motivation. And with the way that game was going, I think they felt they needed to make a play, and they made a few at the end of that game.
Well, I salute South Jersey again. I think because of James and Mike Frankel before, we've been very well and acute aware at Jersey Sports Zone of how good South Jersey football is. And that is the beauty of the state championship structure now is I think people in North Jersey are feeling a little, hurt a little bit, maybe a little humbled, a little motivated to keep going. But right now in public New Jersey high school football, it's South Jersey and nobody else. And will that script change? Of course it will. But right now, James, it's been an unbelievable year for South Jersey football, and I think that's an understatement.
Yeah, and we've got at the time of recording, we've got South Jersey's got 4 state champions. We'll see if Camden can make it a clean sweep on Wednesday night at SHI Stadium.
And the bad news for you, James, is now we're beginning our postseason coverage and our all-zone team where we're picking out videos. And your workload is a little bit more than normal because there are an awful lot of South Jersey guys who have more than earned their spot in our all-zone team. So I know you're going to be holed up in the edit bay for a few extra hours because of all this incredible play by the South Jersey contingent.
It's worth it, though. It's worth it. Just a truly special season down here for South Jersey football across the board.
James Mooney, thanks so much for all that you do in South Jersey football, putting it front and center. And Jay, when we come back, let's walk through it. We're going to tell you how we do our postseason coverage. I'm going to give you a little history lesson of the Zoneman Trophy.
Okay.
And then we will announce our finalists for our Player of the Year, the Jersey Sports Zone 2025 Zoneman Trophy finalists.
It's a loaded list. Holy crows, this looks good.
We'll be right back.
Dream big, they say. We say dream bigger. Over 3 million square feet of bigger, so you can plunge deeper. Play in the snow longer. Wonder greater. Pose with your friends sillier. shop with your family happier, make every meal tastier, and float higher than ever. Whatever your dream is, come live it big time at American Dream.
ACI Medical and Dental School in Eatontown is celebrating 20 years of new beginnings and 20 years of new careers. Start your new career as a medical or dental assistant in less than 4 months. From a talented faculty and staff to state-of-the-art equipment and training, ACI's medical and dental training programs are designed to help students succeed. Registration is open for day and evening classes. Visit aci.edu to begin your healthcare journey. It's time for another Blast from the Past, brought to you by the Heldridge, New Brunswick's only 4-star hotel.
Welcome to Blast from the Past, sponsored by the Heldridge. I'm Tyler Mraz. Delaware quarterback Nick Minicucci posted 311 yards and 3 touchdowns in a victory that clinched bowl eligibility for the Blue Hens in their inaugural FCS season. Back in 2021, James Mooney watched the Don Bosco alum throw for 2 scores in the non-public A semifinal game against St. Augustine.
Same score late in the third. Ironmen with the football. Minicucci rolls right and fires a shot down the field for Amari Walker. And he will do the rest. It's a 75-yard strike to the junior, and Don Bosco leads 10-0 after 3. Later in the fourth, Bosco looking for the knockout blow. Minicucci goes over the middle and finds Ethan Acevedo for the touchdown. The Ironmen put this one out of reach and punch a ticket to MetLife Stadium.
Blast from the Past is brought to you by the Heldridge, New Brunswick's only 4-star hotel and a preferred hotel of Rutgers football fans since 2005. The Heldridge helps you make the most of your game day weekend, providing premium accommodations in the cultural heart of downtown New Brunswick. Restaurants, bars, theaters, parks, museums, and more are only steps away. Whether you're traveling alone or with a large group, book your stay at the Heldridge and make the most of your game day weekend.
No one plans on heart disease, but everyone should have a plan for it. We help patients of all lifestyles and medical histories plan for healthy hearts. We offer convenient screenings without judgment, hundreds of preventive programs, and women's heart specialists. And we're the largest cardiac surgery program in New Jersey. Make plans for a healthy heart with RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Get back the life you love.
Hey, welcome back to Beyond the Score. Rich, it's now the time of the year where we start diving into all the numbers, every piece of video that we watched this season, and start to put together our All-State honors. And all of that is surrounded by the Zoneman. Now, at the top of the article every single year, we have a little bit of a breakdown of kind of what this is, but this is kind of our first opportunity to really talk about it in this format. You've created this award. It's been across 2 states. You've had incredible players win it. Just a quick overview of the Zoneman and what this trophy means, and I guess kind of some of its legacy, too, as well.
So it all starts for me in 1999. A reminder, Jay's a young dude and I'm an old dude. 1999, I am a TV sportscaster in Bangor, Maine.
Okay.
And there was a guy who, the way the Heisman Trophy works is every state has one media person that kind of is the keeper of Heisman Trophy ballots around the country. So there's 50 different guys who they just assign, hey, you get us X number of voters from your state. In Maine, the only thing that's going on is University of Maine football, FCS. I was told that, hey, do you want to be a balloter for the Heisman Trophy? I said, yeah,
sure.
I want to vote for the Heisman. That's an unbelievable honor.
Sick.
It floored me. Jay's probably going to be in charge of writing my obit. Make sure you put on there that I was a Heisman Trophy ballot.
Yeah.
So as this happens, I get my job in Myrtle Beach. I moved from Bangor, Maine to Myrtle Beach. And the guy from the Maine was kind enough to say, hey, we were going to give a ballot to Rich Crampanis. He's now in Myrtle Beach as a sports director. Now, all of a sudden, I'm covering South Carolina, Clemson, and Coastal Carolina on the FCS level. So now I'm covering more college football than I ever have in my life.
Yeah.
So I cast my first Heisman Trophy ballot in 2000, and I voted on the Heisman from 2000 to 2014. I looked back the other day, just some of the, guys like Carlson Palmer, some different guys, all guys, kind of familiar faces that I voted on. Matt Leinart, another guy I voted for. I think maybe my last ballot, he didn't win. I voted for Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
I was really, what he did at Stanford, I was enamored.
That aged well.
For 14 years, I cast a vote for the Heisman. When I got this privilege and honor in 2000, I was so excited about it. I said, boy, I want to kind of try and bring this kind of flavor to what we do covering high school football in South Carolina. And what I liked about the Heisman process is that everybody gets a vote. So, I was 720th of voting who the Heisman was.
Right.
So I decided that instead of the Heisman, my TV show was the End Zone. I was like, I'll change the Heisman into the Zoneman, and I'm going to give ballots out to the head coaches to vote who the player of the year was. It took off immediately, and we had some incredible players that have won the Zoneman Trophy in South Carolina. First big name was a guy by the name of Lawrence Timmons, who played for the Steelers, All-Pro, won a Super Bowl, went to Florida State. He was in 2003. He was like our first quote-unquote big Zoneman winner. I think our next big Zoneman winner in South Carolina was Hunter Renfrow, who went on to win 2 national championships at Clemson, All-Pro with the Raiders. He's currently with the Panthers. He won it 2 years in a row. And another indication of how old I am, I just realized that this year is the 25th anniversary of the Zoneman in South Carolina.
Okay, wow.
The last big name for you guys, I know Jay gets into the draft, the last big Zoneman winner, the next guy in South Carolina is Lenoris Sellers. From South Carolina, starting quarterback, is a Zoneman Trophy winner there. So I'm honored and proud that tradition lives on, even though I left South Carolina in 2015. It's gone on 10 years past. There have been 25 Zoneman Trophy winners. Fast forward here, we come here, start Shore Sports Zone, do a couple of Shore Zoneman winners, and then we're across the state since 2018. We've been giving out this statewide honor, and we ask and invite any head coach in New Jersey to take a ballot and cast their vote, just like the Heisman, first, second, and third. Because the state's so big and it's so regional, we have taken it upon ourselves, Jay, to create the finalists and come up with the list and then ask the coaches to vote from that list. So maybe we can walk through, this is great. We're going to walk through our Zoneman winners.
Yeah. Let's start most recent. Latsier Brooks from Millville was last year's winner. He won pretty decisively. I've got the number here. Latsier had 44 first-place votes last year. So that was as decisive as it gets.
And I'm watching the Iron Bowl on Saturday night, Alabama-Auburn, and I'm watching Latsier Brooks on the field.
Yeah.
In the biggest game of Alabama's season, that Iron Bowl, and I'm saying, wow, he's a true freshman playing at Alabama. That's
Insane.
A very short list of guys who can walk into the SEC and play as a freshman. So that's a pretty good pick.
That's a great pick. 2022 and 2023 was the first repeat winner. That was Micah Ford from Toms River North in the midst of that glory run that TRN had, winning back-to-back state championships. Micah's now doing incredible things at Stanford. We just highlighted him last week in the Blast from the Past.
Once again, you're watching Stanford. Andrew Luck, the GM, making big headlines there. And Micah Ford has kind of become the centerpiece of the rebuild of Stanford. Once again, incredible to see. And then you go back And our next two Zoneman winners in the history books are playing in the National Football League right now.
They're in the league. 2021 was LeQuint Allen, also Millville, the first Millville winner of the Zoneman Trophy. LeQuint had a really, really good career at Syracuse. He's now on the 53 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. 2020 was maybe the best single-season performance I have ever seen.
Right.
Was Audric Estime, the Estime Express. Audric flipped from Michigan State to Notre Dame on the
during his trophy presentation.
During the Zoneman Trophy presentation, yeah, that was crazy. That was in the middle of COVID. Remember that?
Right.
We were. That was a
masked
wild.
Up. Yep.
Yeah, it was a wild time. But yeah, Audric. Audric is now with the Saints, I believe.
Yes, he's on the active roster as well.
Yes. So Audric is one of our guys. 2019 was Fadil Diggs, formerly Woodrow Wilson High School, now Camden Eastside. Fadil was a two-way monster in 2019, doing a little bit of everything. 2018 and 2017 were public school guys as well. 2018 was Jalon Dabney from Somerville, had an incredible season at quarterback for the Pioneers. They were deep in the playoffs, heavily in the mix. And 2017 was a guy that lives in the lore of New Jersey high school football the last decade, is Ashante Worthy from Freehold Borough.
Who had the most insane numbers that you could imagine.
Oh, my gosh.
So, look, it's been a great run here early on. We've already kind of built a footprint. And a reminder that we asked the head coaches to cast their ballot. We also turn to some media members that we see on the sidelines on a regular basis.
Yes.
And the balance is there as well. We've had South Jersey, we've had Shore, we've had North Jersey winners in the past. So, again, this process has been interesting for us. It's fun for us. It's a little different than what everybody does. You know, we could sit here at a table and argue and say, okay, this is going to be our player of the year decided amongst the five of us that work full time.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, we turn to the coaches. I always say at the end of the day, the coaches know.
They're the experts.
If you look at the people who are on our ballot and we thank them, we're going to get a ballot from Augie Hoffman and Vito Campanelli and all the great coaches around the state, South Jersey, Shore Conference, WJFL. We'll balance that out, and that's where we'll come with our winner for Player of the Year.
Yes.
Jay's ballot, well, a lot of times it's different than my ballot. You know, it's that's the beauty of the process. And just because I created the thing and I'm the inventor and all this stuff,
right?
My ballot has as much weight as Jay's or Tyler or any head coach out there, which is that's why I like the process. And I think it's fair, and I think people enjoy it, and so it's going to be fun. We'll now announce these finalists, and then Jay and I will get working the phones, text, email, DMs to try and get as many ballots as we can. The more ballots we get, I think it just solidifies the justification and the balance too. We don't want to have 50 from South Jersey and 10 from North Jersey. We want to balance it out the best we can.
There's got to be a balance. Balance is important. So let's meet the 2025 Zoneman Trophy finalists, shall we?
Yes. We start with the great Jay Cook graphic.
Yes.
This is one of my favorite. I love this.
One.
I feel like I want to have like the history, because some of the ballots, some of the the podiums are awesome. So there it is. We always say we're gonna do 5, and then we go.
Never happens, right?
It never happens. Everyone's like, this is the year we're gonna do 5 finalists.
Yeah.
South Jersey had to represent, so we have 3 South Jersey finalists, 1 from the Shore, and 3 up north. So we'll go in alphabetical order. I just love this graphic. So
it's so good, yeah.
So let's start in alphabetical order. Don Bosco Prep. We talked about it previously in the show. What an incredible season they had. They were number 1 for the entire year. Really ran the table and lost in the state finals. This guy, Jay, is a special player. Makai Allen from Don Bosco.
Yeah, this was a tough choice. Bosco had the best defense in the state all year. We needed somebody from on this podium to be represented from Bosco. But week in and week out, Makai Allen proved that he is one of the most athletically gifted, talented, physically imposing players I potentially may have ever seen on the defensive side of the ball. He is, I called him an alien the other week because it's what he is. He's Makai Allen. I mean, he's like a different animal out there. This kid does not look like a linebacker, like he should be playing linebacker. Looks like he should be playing D-end. He is massive. He is incredibly talented. 7 sacks on the year, team leader in tackles. When Bosco's looking for a big play, looking for a quarterback hit, looking to turn the ball over, third down, Makai Allen's your guy. Only a junior, 4-star recruit, 30 offers. This is one of the most impressive 2026 players in the entire country. So Makai Allen is our first Zoneman finalist.
And just one quick note about Makai Allen. In this modern era of the transfer portal, where every college program is going to go and try and develop proven college football players, it's rare now for these high school players to get that kind of attention. So Makai Allen's a guy that's still going to get heavily recruited.
Oh, yeah.
And is a guy that's going to get a big NIL deal and all those things. So we debate of who's the guy from Bosco on the podium. We go to the next guy on our list, no debate. The heartbeat, the soul of St. Joe's Montvale, the number 1 team in New Jersey, is Nate Bailey. Kid's got incredible. We're going to talk about all of his stuff on the field. I love the kid off the field.
So good.
And he's what a great representative of St. Joseph Regional and what a great representative of New Jersey football. He's going to the Ivy League, to Harvard, and they're getting a high-quality young man, and that's the off-the-field part, and the on-the-field matches it.
Absolutely. Nate is one of the most explosive players offensively that we have seen up north in quite some time. If Nate was at a public school, he would have had 40 touchdowns this year. It's just the reality of it. I mean, and that's the truth. That's how explosive this kid is. That's how gifted he is. I mean, that's how talented he is. He does everything. Joe's had him playing wildcat quarterback. They had him playing receiver. They had him playing running back. He's the most versatile offensive weapon on this list. And if you are naming an MVP for the number 1 team in New Jersey, it's Nate Bailey. His presence on the field cannot be overstated. He does everything for them. What a great representative for the number 1 team in New Jersey. Like you said, Nate Bailey is an absolute no-brainer.
And now we go to another no-brainer.
Oh, my goodness.
From the Shore Conference, Homedale High School, Jack Cannon heading to Dartmouth. It's intimidating to try and get his stats, but I've got it now memorized. This is just this year, Jay.
Right.
4,420 yards passing and rushing, 63 touchdowns. He scored 63 touchdowns, and more than that, he took a program that is not known as a football power whatsoever, and he took them to their first ever sectional championship. They were up at the half on Winslow. They were right there. I'm sure there's a lot of what-ifing going on in Homedale, but there's no what-ifing on what Jack Cannon means. This is a kid who I would think down the road is going to have his number retired. He is I think he's more than once a generation, like once every 50-year kind of player to stay home. And we knew how good he was, Jay, but he took that leap from junior to senior year to going from one heck of a ball player to one of the all-time greats, not only in the Shore Conference, but New Jersey. Those numbers,
ridiculous.
He didn't have anything close to resembling a bad game. And when you look at their schedule, sometimes you could say, oh, these public school numbers are a little inflated. They beat Donovan Catholic in non-public.
Mm-hmm.
He lost in a shootout to Brick Memorial. They were a state semifinalist. Rumson Fairhaven, defending state champ. RBC, they lost by 1 point, lost by an extra point. State semifinalists. He put up incredible numbers.
How about Cedar Creek against the state champion? Played incredibly well.
Hung up 30 in the first half.
Yeah.
So look, Jack Cannon is
Josh Allen light, man.
He is going to get plenty of votes from the Shore. The coaches in the Shore Conference. It's a pretty easy ballot for them.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So
this one's a lock and load right there.
So there's 3, and then we go now to the South Jersey contingent, who have more than earned their spot here on the podium. We start with Jalen Parker of Winslow Township. We talked about it earlier in the podcast, set the record, surpassing Devin Leary. He has been the trigger man of an absolutely electrifying offense.
Yeah, look, Winslow is they move the ball up and down the field like it's nobody's business. Jalen Parker, the all-time leader in touchdown passes in New Jersey history as a junior.
Wow.
As a junior.
So he's going to set that bar pretty high next year.
Look, I mean, it's going to be Jalen Parker far and away for quite some time. This Winslow team is incredibly good. But Jalen Parker, the leader of that offense, you look at a guy with 3,200 passing yards, over 40 touchdowns. Winslow scored over 500 points this season on their trip to win back-to-back state championships. Jalen Parker going to be back again at Winslow next year. So you look at a guy who is one of the most explosive quarterbacks and the best quarterback in South Jersey. Boy, oh boy, Jalen Parker is a really good representative for the Eagles on this list.
And now we go to Glassboro, two-time state champs. You can argue a lot. Boy, there's a lot of guys on Glassboro, but the guy, that the last moment before we're talking about finalizing this podium, I saw him electric at Rutgers, Amari Saab, who is just, I think, the heartbeat of that team. Tremendous on both sides of the ball, and wow.
Fantastic. The Saab brothers are great players. Xavier is viewed by recruiting scouting services as the higher recruit, as the better recruit, but Amari is the guy that we are going with because when you look at the numbers and look at his impact on this team, it's undeniable. 26, 27 total touchdowns, team leader in interceptions, did it all, running the ball, receiving, playing great defense. This is one of the most well-rounded seniors in the entire state of New Jersey, Amari Saab, leading Glassboro here on the Zoneman finalist list.
And last, and certainly not least.
Yeah, this was a guy that our South Jersey guys went to war over. Let's just make that known. They stood up here and said, from the public side, we need another guy, Washington Township, on this list. Washington Township has to be represented.
And that's Jalen Robinson, who you want to talk about contributing on both sides of the ball. When you have incredible numbers on offense, and then you throw in the defense, Washington Township deserves somebody on this podium, and Jalen Robinson is a heck of a pick.
He did it as a two-way player on a perfect 14-0 team. You look at Washington Township and what they were able to accomplish, especially in the state final. We just talked about this with James. 3 touchdowns in the state final, over 100 rushing yards, double-digit tackles in a state championship. That all adds into 105 tackles on the season, over 20 TFLs, and a guy that had a dozen rushing touchdowns this year. So a true two-way threat for Washington Township. We're very proud to have Jalen Robinson on this list.
7th and final Zoneman finalists in alphabetical order. We go to Bergen Catholic. We go to a future Ohio State Buckeye, Jordan Thomas, who I just can't wait to see the journey he's about to go on. And it's another kid. We interviewed him on the podcast. The way he conducts himself is so impressive and will lead him to great things on and off the field. But he is one. Ryan Day doesn't have too many misses when he comes to New Jersey and picks people up. And Buckeye fans are just going to love this kid.
Future pro.
Yes.
Future pro. I mean, when you watch him play and the way he conducts himself on and off the field, future pro. I don't apologize for saying that. I know he's a high school senior, but you look at some of these guys and you just have the feeling Jordan is on that trajectory. An incredible player, All-American this season, one of the only senior All-American from New Jersey this season. 3 interceptions this year, and that's solely because people did not throw the ball at him
at all.
Didn't want to challenge him. Because we have seen time and time again what happens when you throw a pass in his direction. Bad things happen. We saw it from the first game of the season against East St. Louis. Bergen Catholic is on the ropes. They are clinging for life in this game. Jordan Thomas makes an incredible play on third down. He blocks the punt that leads to a punt return touchdown and the go-ahead 2-point conversion to take the lead against East St. Louis in Week 0. From that point on, it was the beginning of an incredible senior season for Jordan Thomas. Physical as all heck, too. This kid loves getting in and laying lumber and making tackles. He is never going to shy away from contact. An absolutely great representative for Bergen Catholic and an A-plus defensive player. So we're proud to have Jordan on this list as well.
So there they are, the 7 guys. We're going to blast every coach we can find in our Rolodex, on our contacts. We're asking for as many ballots as we can from head coaches in New Jersey. We'll talk to our friends in the media, the NJ.com guys. We appreciate them sending us their ballots and all the Gannett and everybody around the state. When you look at the final balloting, you can see who the people were that voted, and you can see the credibility that we're really asking the entire state to do it. There are incredible players that are not on this podium. They will be on our all-zone team. So don't forget about that. And it is hard. We can't have a 36-person podium.
No.
We're strapped now doing 7. We probably did too much.
We may have. But our hand was forced. Credit to these kids, right? If Washington Township doesn't finish 14-0, maybe we're having a different conversation. If Jack Cannon doesn't go out and have 5 touchdowns against somebody in a really big spot, maybe we aren't having this conversation, right? If Nate Bailey doesn't get healthy, we might not be having this conversation. So this is a full year resume that we have to look at what these kids accomplished. This is a very deep podium. You look at some of the recruits on here and all that stuff. Boy, this is going to be a group of guys that we look back on in a couple years and say, yeah, we picked the right guys.
Just like the Heisman, first, second, and third, 3 points, 2 points, 1 point. We'll get the ballots, and then we'll make a great presentation of the 2025 Zoneman Trophy coming up next week. Let's step away. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the all-zone team and what we're doing now, because as soon as we take the headphones off, you and I we're gonna get a little busy, aren't we?
Go back to editing. That's it.
That's right. We'll talk and wrap up this week's episode right after this.
It's really nice to be in a situation, in a place where there are very good people who take good care of people.
Orthopedics it's not about saving lives, it's about saving quality of life.
A lot of people, we live high stress lives, so if you tell someone they can't do something for whatever reason, that's pretty traumatic.
I really take pride in trying to be empathetic and trying to put myself in every patient's shoes.
I want to take care of people like I'd want to take care of my family. And I think that when you do that and give somebody that family feeling and give them your honest opinion for what you would do, they value that.
Buffalo Wild Wings has teamed up with Jersey Sports Zone to honor high school athletes across the state with gift cards. We'll have Buffalo Wild Wings Player of the Game interviews all year long. Visit Buffalo Wild Wings locations in North Brunswick, Bridgewater, West Windsor, Flemington, Brick, and Toms River. A special thanks to the Munson Restaurant Group for supporting New Jersey high school athletes and Jersey Sports Zone. So the winter sports season is about to start. I know that we're going to get to some hockey. You're going to get a little bit of hockey maybe on Friday.
Yeah.
But we have to close out the season. We just talked about the Zoneman. We're going to get ballots. We're going to give our trophy to the Player of the Year sometime next week. And then we are now in the process of putting together our all-zone team, which is our version of the all-state team. If we wanted to make our lives real easy, I was just thinking about this. We could just say, hey, who's the first, second, and third team quarterback? And I would probably have an aneurysm because there's so much good play. So what we kind of did, and again, I say, hey, let's just kind of do the top 100 players in the state. 50 non-public, 50 public. And then what happens is we all go and we all contribute from different parts of the state. The list goes beyond 100.
It does.
Every year.
Yeah.
And so for us, all zone, if you're all zone, you're one of the best players in the state. Okay?
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot of factors that go into it. I think your team success goes a long way. Stats is a part of it. If you're a high-profile 4 or 5-star recruit, that's a part of it. And then there's also, when we saw you, what did you do?
Yeah.
Right? So sometimes when we go to the Bergens and the Joes and the Peters, we're going to see you 3, 4, 5 times. The public schools, if you're a top 20 team in the state, we're going to see you 3, 4, or 5 times. And then there's those teams that we see once or twice, And if you show up and you ball out, we put you on the radar.
Mm-hmm. It's a running list. Once we get to the half point of the season, we start going through, we start listing names out and, guys we have to watch. And then probably in the last 2 or 3 weeks, what did we do? A 3-hour phone call last week?
Yeah.
Going
another 2 today.
Right. Yeah. Another 2 today. We go through line by line. And it's a meticulous process, but it works. And we do get the right players on there. The list is loaded. I mean, look, it's, there's no surprises, right? There's a couple kids on there that are,
right.
Late risers, so to speak, right? Like, you win a state championship. We need to have some representation from that team. You go on a run, you have to have some representation. Even if you don't make the playoffs and you are a great player and you have the numbers to back it up and you showed up in big time spots, those all go into it. So, the list is a running tally of the best non-public players and the best public. That was a distinction that we made a couple years ago as well. Instead of, cutting out the public school kids because the non-publics are so dominant, we wanted to make sure there was equal representation between the private school kids and the public school kids. That has been a point of emphasis, and it has really worked out so we can really spotlight just about everybody.
And we don't do first team, second team.
No, it's all zone.
It's all zone. And if you're on this list, you can play, and you had a great run, and I think it's a great honor. And unlike others, we're going to put your video clips together and give you a little mashup reel, right?
Yeah.
So that's the reward for making our all zone team, and we will put it together. It's probably around 120.
That's what it looks like, yeah.
So it's supposed to be 100, but what are we going to do? We're willing to work a little extra because you're like, how can I leave this kid off the list? I got this play, I got that play, I got this play.
Sure.
So I appreciate the work of our team that you might not see as many games this week, but I have to explain it to my owners. Like, what have you guys been doing?
Boy.
We didn't take the week off.
No,
We're actually looking forward to getting back out and shooting games after spending all this time in the NFA.
Shooting games is easy. That's the easy part. I always joke about that. Shooting games is the easy part. Doing the editing and all that stuff, that's the challenging part, right? Going to the game and watching a great game is fun and easy. So, yeah, absolutely. All that, we've got that all mapped out today. We're going to kind of announce that rollout later in the week of kind of what we're looking at, how it's all going to play out. The Zoneman presentation is really a spur-of-the-moment thing, too. So
we have to find out who wins first.
Right.
That's the challenge. Once the ballots, I feel like it's almost like the Pope. Maybe we,
white smoke
out of the JSC office, and then it's time.
Right.
It's time for us to go into motion, and we want to kind of keep it a surprise.
Yes.
So what we'll do is we kind of work covertly with athletic directors and head coaches of the winner to see if we can surprise them. So like I said, we're going to take the headphones off. We're gonna do a deep dive. I apologize to your wife and kid in advance.
That's
all right. But you'll be around the house a little bit more.
That's
so
okay.
That's a good thing.
Yeah,
so we enjoy doing it. We enjoy celebrating these kids, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So get ready for winter sports. It's coming. We'll start talking about that next week, and then. But first, let's get this all zone team cranked out and celebrate an incredible 2025 football season, Jay.
We're going to have everything on our social media channels. You'll be able to follow along there with all the videos, watch all the great highlights from all the great players in New Jersey. And as we close the chapter on what was an awesome 2025 season.
For Jay Cook, I'm Rich Krampanis. This has been Beyond the Score, episode 14. Make sure you download the podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, wherever you see it. Just type in Jersey Sports Zone. Thanks so much for your support, and thanks to RWJ Barnabas Health. We'll see you next week.
If you have chronic joint or back pain, this is probably where you spend your time. Might we suggest a better destination that's close to home? RWJ Barnabas Health, where orthopedic surgeons designed the surgical implants that are now used around the world, and where you'll be cared for by the same doctors that treat professional athletes and rising stars. Get back to what you've been missing. Orthopedic care. Do it right. Here, RWJ Barnabas Health.